At a more final stage, like I said, once we got to the middle 1970s, most of the really interesting stuff had taken place because all the different kinds of notes are gone, but Federal Reserve notes, all the high denominations are gone, all the other little changes of printing method, all these things are done and pretty much finalized, and certainly with no visible changes beyond this anymore. So all we really got left, however, is the one thing that is of some interest, and that is the implementation of various security measures. Now these are samples, each of them 8 years apart. This column are all 1985, which are no different than the ones of the 1974, except that the signature is in the series date, so no security measures have yet been implemented. There's various stages between each of these steps as one denomination after another gets implemented. For this little study, it's simplest just to look at each time they're all completed and before we move on to the next. In the next column, we're in 1993, 8 years later, where a few very small, subtle, simple security measures have been implemented. Then the next one, we're another 8 years later, 2001, which of course is the very famous for its very large ovals. And then finally, 2009, all these others got changed. You might remember the 100 took the longest to come out, and so the 2009s, a lot of them didn't print well, so they actually had to be gone through. And in the meantime, they fixed up how they made it. The 2009As came out first, and then after people had gone through them carefully, they were able to release a number of the 2009s. But the 2009s had been printed first, so they are Series 2009. So, and you'll notice we're not concerning ourselves with ones or twos here. Most of these years we don't even have twos, so that doesn't matter. And they hadn't been made since 1976 anyway for most of this. And in fact, well, no. And the other thing was the $1 again. Both of those don't ever change again. The security advances only apply to these denominations from $5 to $100. So, as I said, you look at these original ones from 1985, the original style. Nothing has changed front or back. I really don't need to show these in any great detail. They're just kind of the starting points. So I'll just kind of set them aside and be done with those. So now, by various series, 1990, and some were introduced. Others were 1988 A's, which did not improve. But by 1993, all these denominations had now gone over to the slight improvement. So what did they do? They added two things originally. They added microprinting, which if you look around the oval, they've added an extra line that just says the United States of America, the United States of America, repeated again until it hits the top there, and then coming down the other side from there all the way around there. Further away it looks like maybe just another line, kind of uneven, but if you look at it real closely, it's the United States of America written over and over again. For $10 they did the same thing. So again, it starts right here, the United States of America, all at that side up until there, and then again starting here and coming all the way around here, the United States of America. And then for 20, they added an extra. There's already two lines around there. Now they added a third, and it's just the same thing, starting all the way down here, the United States of America, the United, and so on, all the way around, stopping up there, and then resuming again down this other side right here, all the way around. So you get to the bottom. Very tiny, very difficult to see. And then finally at 50. Again, there was a couple of lines. They added a third line, which is made up of the United States of America, the United States of America, and so on, all the way up until that point there, and then starting again here. on down. Okay, I did $100. Same thing here. The United States of America. United States of America. Boy, that's really tiny. And it continues all the way up until here. And resumes here. It goes all the way around until you get down to there. There's a second defense, however, also introduced at this time. And now for that, we're going to use a special light bulb. These old compact fluorescent bulbs, you know, which stem from, well, that was a rather brief thing. They use less electricity, but now the LEDs are replacing even these, and these too have now become obsolete. So that's kind of a collector item in a way. But let's look at specifically. They've added a band in here, and there it says USA 5. You can see that very clearly. Then the next one, it has the same thing upside down, but it's just there, USA 5, and it just alternates. So that's built into the band. Okay. $10 also has a similar band. And again, it's not just USA 10 and USA 10 upside down. Alternated all the way across, and so on, all the way down the line. USA 20, USA 20, USA 20, right side up, inverted right side up, and so on. And then 50. Yeah, the same thing again. USA 50 and USA 50. Then alternated, same pattern. And finally, even the 100 has a similar thing here. USA 100, USA 100, USA 100. So these made it somewhat harder to counterfeit these things. Well, the next stage, they had to add yet more. So let's take a look at what they added for that. For this stage, they have the microprinting is moved. Now you just have inside each of the little bubbles, it looks like a messy line broken in the middle, is actually $5 written inside each one of those bubbles. And they did the same thing on this side, $5. Wow. Okay. And for the 10, they did the same thing again. Only this time, they put it inside the 10. Where it's so small, I can't even read it through this thing. I'm going to see if I can just read it, just looking at it directly. Wow, that's tiny. 10 USA, 10 USA. I think it's the same, USA 10, USA 10. Boy, that's tiny. I just can't quite pull that in. But these little lines inside the 10 are the microprinting. There's also, however, for everything except the $5, different color ink, which, looked at it straight on, it's obviously green. Look at it as it's kind of dark and obviously not so green. So that's kind of cool. And as we go up to the next denomination, 20. Again, we have here the microprinting. This is a little bigger and easier to pull in. All inside the 20, it's just simply USA 20, USA 20, USA 20 everywhere. Ah, yes. And then it also has going in here, the United States of America, the United States of America a couple times here. And there. Ah, neat, going up in here and there. Okay, that's cool. So it has the microprinting, and it has this 20 that again, straight on, looks beautifully green, but differently it looks very kind of darkish, murky, blackish, whatever. Okay, the $50. They've done the same thing. Now here, let's see here, the micro printing is in the edges again. It just says, if I can get it to focus in here, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50 going down the sides, really tiny 50s. And again, same thing, see, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, all the way on down the side. There. Okay, so there's those two devices there. And then, for the 100, again, more tiny printing in here, probably USA 100 or something very hard to read again because it's just so tiny. But that's full of micro printing in there. And that's it. Again, you've got this ink. See how it can look so beautifully green from this angle, but kind of, kind of darkish from this color. Now, in this case, we have stuff inside. Well, let's take a look at the watermarks. Here, there's a picture of Lincoln as a watermark. And again, you got a band in there. Where again, it has USA 5, and then a little flag with a 5 at the where the stars would go, and so on. It alternates its direction again. All the way across, the $10 has its picture of Hamilton and the watermark, kind of. And again, the little band here, USA 10, another flag with 10 in there. And again, it alternates which way it goes. Well, it's hard to see one of the flags. There's a little 10 in that corner of it. Okay. 20 has its watermark. President Jackson there. And again, thing here, USA 20, and then a little flag with 20 inside, and so forth. And again, the same thing upside down, USA 20, and then the flag with 20 inside it. The 50 also has a watermark of Grant. USA 50, and then the flag. And upside down, USA 50 flag. Okay. Finally, the $100 would have its watermark, a rather crude one, of Benjamin Franklin. And it also has its thing, just USA 100, USA 100, USA 100, alternated in different directions. There'll be one more feature, but we'll get back to that when we look at that for both of these. Now, the last one, the updated one, Series 2009. Oh, wow. Apparently you've also got 5s going down here like a kind of a watermark. You got a big 5 over there as a watermark. And then, okay, you have 5 USA, and then inverted 5 in USA that way. Going all the way down in its little band. Okay, now the $10. You have... Alright, again, USA 10, and then the little 10 flag, and so forth, and inverted. Alright, and again, you got a watermark of Hamilton. No other obvious watermarks in this case. Okay, and once again, you've got the 20, you got again, USA 20, and then a flag. USA 20, a flag, and again, there's 20 in the upper left corner where the stars would have gone. And the watermark of Jackson. Doesn't seem to be any other watermarks. Okay. And then the 50. There's a watermark of Grant. There's the van. There we go, USA 50, and then a flag with a 50 in that corner. And going the other way, you can see USA 50, and there's a flag with a little tiny 50 in that corner, and alternates. And no other apparent watermarks. Finally, you get to the 100. What a jumble of fancy things here. You've got the watermark here. You've got the USA 100, USA 100, no more flags this time, and so forth. So, now you have a few other things here. And let's talk about what else was introduced here. Alright, the 5, oops, doesn't have colored ink, but the 10, again, now you've got this area here. Let's see if I can pull this in. You can look red from one perspective or green from another. And the 20, again, you have this ink here for that 20 and look red or very green. So that's pretty cool. And again, pretty hard to fake. Alright. The next one has 50 this way or very green that way. And 100. Has 100 again, red from this angle and very green from that angle. Boy, that's really vivid. It also has this very metallic Liberty Bell contained in this very non-metallic inkwell. So that's kind of neat. And one of the most extraordinary things they have on this is the holographic thing. So there you got little Liberty Bells in 100s. Depending on how you move it, things can switch between being a Liberty Bell and a 100. See, look at that one there. It's a now it's a Liberty Bell. Now it's a Liberty Bell. Now it's 100. And you can also kind of move it around a little bit, up and down, as I turn the note. So that is one part here, and then so that has a lot of different things. There's another thing, you see these little patterns of ones and zeros, well, particularly the zeros. The zeros are something to alert most scanning technologies to say, oh, this is a banknote, don't make a copy of it. So it's much harder to get a picture of one of these things because, you know, other than maybe some very old scanners that don't have that software in it. So now they all still have the micro printing somewhere, so not as much, but they still have some. So you have down here across the whole bottom here just USA, 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 all the way across the very, very bottom edge of his portrait. You also have something here along the part of this pen saying 100 USA, 100 USA. And then in blue, you have going around the micro printing here, all around this clear area, USA 100, USA 100, all the way around there. Okay. On the back sides, you now have again these same zeros, pattern of zeros. And then you have the $100, again, you've got all that, USA 100, USA 100, going all the way around this space for the watermark here. So that's pretty cool. You know, now 50, you have these same zeros on both sides. You also have the micro printing, but not a whole lot, just 50 going down all the way to the side. And 50 is going all the way down this side. And 20, you now have, what micro printing do you have on the 20? I know you got something. Oh boy. I got something in here somewhere. It's not very much, obviously. Interesting. Why am I not finding it? Oh well. I'm sure they have it somewhere. They always have micro printing, even if it's just a tiny little bit somewhere. Very small amount, obviously. Okay, well, It's kind of strange. Maybe they just didn't do microprinting on the front of their 20. They also didn't have those patterns of zeros. What if it means this would scan, or if it's got some other clever way? The back, however, still has these zeros scattered all over the place, so you won't be able to scan that. So that is very odd, though. How did I not notice this doesn't have microprinting? That's unique. I guess they decided that's not very important. There's a lot of detail in it, just as high resolution. If you're at a 10, you got lots of stuff. You got stuff along the edge here. Let's see if I can pull that in. It's the United States of America. Oh. Okay, well, I'm going down this side too. Interesting. Anyway, and 10 does have all those zeros all over on one side and on the other, at least the one end, but that's enough. And then the 5, it still has a little $5 inside each bubble on each side. And it has all those little zeros in a special magic pattern on each side. That's enough to don't copy me. So that's one more security feature, however, that's only detectable with ultraviolet light. So I'm going to take this out and replace it with an ultraviolet light. And here. Now, in these earlier series, the band is merely opaque to ultraviolet. It's just regular light. It doesn't respond. And that goes for all denominations. I show the 5, I show the 100, but everything in between. It does not fluorescence. However, in this next series, the $5 fluorescences as kind of a bright blue-green. $10 fluorescences as a nice bright yellow. Okay, $20 fluorescences with kind of a yellowish green. $50 fluorescences with a different shade of yellow, more yellow, truly yellowish yellow. And $100 fluorescences with kind of a funny pinkish, reddish kind of color. Okay, the new series also fluorescent with somewhat similar colors. Again, you got a blue-green with the $5. You got a very distinct orange with the $10. You've got very real lime green with the 20. You've got a bright yellow with the 50. And you've got a pretty much a red with the 100. So that's what was done for all the security measures. And obviously there's probably room for further improvements that will be done. There's talk of different pictures on the different people being portrayed. Don't know what will become of that. There's talk of giving them something distinctive in their shape or feel in some manner that blind people can recognize the denominations. But all of that still remains to be seen.